Chapter 15, Anti-Climax. Congratulations, you are now in an incredible position of strength. Let me explain precisely why. Simply knowing that smoking is a phobia is priceless, because this knowledge by itself permanently destroys any illusion that smoking is pleasurable. In fact, some smokers I've known who didn't want to stop smoking in the slightest have expressed their extreme annoyance after I've explained the nicotine trick to them. They complained that cigarettes don't feel the same anymore, and even, couldn't you have kept it to yourself? Strangely, I can feel some sympathy with these people, although I must point out that I didn't personally create the chemical properties of nicotine. These properties exist by sheer chemical chance. Anyway, you finally know how smoking works, or more accurately, why it doesn't. What now? Now we come to the exciting bit, transferring what your conscious mind now knows directly into your subconscious mind, destroying the phobia that drives your smoking. Some people are worried at this point because they assume I want to hypnotize them, and they've heard the horror stories of people being humiliated and demeaned by stage hypnotists. But it didn't take a hypnotist to make you start smoking, so there is absolutely no need for you to be hypnotized by one in order to stop. This doesn't mean that we're not going to get into your subconscious mind, but we are going to take a slightly different route to that of hypnotism. How? Well, I can't tell you when to stop smoking, because this choice is going to be made by your subconscious mind. But from this point onwards, you're only going to smoke by going through a simple 3-step process that will enable your subconscious mind to finally see what's really happening. This will cause it to let go of the fear response that drives smoking. Based on my experience, sometimes this happens almost immediately, but usually it takes a few days. The important thing isn't that it happens instantly, but permanently. Okay. Before continuing, I want you to make sure you're ready to smoke a cigarette and that you have about 10 minutes during which you're unlikely to be disturbed or interrupted. Please don't light the cigarette until I ask you to. Now, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to use a visualization technique based on the snake analogy I mentioned earlier, a technique that will create a subtle change in your subconscious mind. It's a technique similar to that used by psychologists dealing with other phobias, and it's based on a simple principle. Your conscious mind finds it easier to absorb ideas that are presented using words, numbers, and logic. This is how this book has explained the nicotine trick to you. But your subconscious mind absorbs ideas much better when they're presented in a way that is sensory and, in particular, visual. Step 1. Snake visualization. Let me describe what you're going to visualize. Then I'll explain how to make it really powerful. By doing this, you'll be creating a new perception of nicotine in your subconscious mind, one that your mind will start to use each time you smoke. I want you to imagine being bitten by a snake and injected with mild, non-lethal venom, nicotine. The venom won't cause physical pain, but your body will immediately start reacting to it, which will trigger a gradually building sensation of painless physical tension. It will then take about 4 days for your body to get rid of the venom, during which time the feeling of tension will slowly fade away to nothing. Now, each time you get bitten by this snake, the process will start all over again, beginning with a mild feeling of tension. What this means is that once this feeling has grown to full strength, getting bitten again will appear to reduce it. In fact, it won't do any such thing. Far from reducing it, it will simply delay your recovery by starting it from scratch all over again. In other words, if you're ever going to be rid of this feeling, you need to let the poison simply run its course, rather than repeatedly allowing yourself to be bitten again, which just keeps causing it to start from scratch. Fortunately, letting the poison run its course in this way no longer frightens you in the slightest. Why not? Because you now know exactly how this venom works, which means you know exactly what to expect. Nothing more than a feeling of painless physical tension that will fade away after about 4 days. In fact, even after 2 days, it will have faded to the same level that you feel immediately after you get bitten by the snake. The difference is that this time it will continue to fade rather than rising all over again. There's no fear, no confusion, just a simple choice. Either allow the snake to keep biting you and keep restarting the feeling of tension at a lower level, or let the poison run its course and be rid of this feeling altogether. Even better, as soon as the feeling of tension starts to fade, nothing in the entire universe can make it start again unless you get bitten again. And even this is under your control because the snake needs your permission to bite you. In other words, the only way to keep experiencing this feeling of tension is to keep deliberately getting bitten. Also understand that there is no reason on earth for your body's natural reaction to the venom to frighten you. In fact, it would be far more frightening if your body didn't react to being bitten, because it would mean it didn't know how to cope with the venom. The next step, when I ask you, is to go through this simple visualization once more, but with your eyes closed. And this time, I want you to start adding your own detail to it. Attach the exact feeling you understand as nicotine withdrawal symptoms to your body's reaction to being bitten by the snake. a delayed feeling of mild, painless tension in your face, shoulders, chest, and stomach. Understand that you've allowed this snake to bite you thousands of times, and your body has started to recover every time, which means the venom isn't fatal in small doses. All it does is makes you feel tense, and if you avoid being bitten by the snake, nothing can stop your body from finally being calm again, just as it was before you suffered the first of all those snake bites. Don't feel embarrassed about adding bizarre or colorful details. It won't make it less real, it will make it more real. Last week, I took a phone call from a workshop attendee, a very impatient type, who'd been struggling for a day or so to imagine the snake visualization convincingly, and who had suddenly, quite literally, dreamed it in his sleep in an amazing level of detail. For years, he'd smoked Benson and Hedges, and in his dream, the snake was a large gold cobra with the intricate B&H logo along its body. But it wasn't a nightmare, because the snake no longer represented a threat to him. Having identified the snake with the brand he'd smoked, the rest of the visualization sank effortlessly into his subconscious mind. His phobia disappeared, and with it, his desire to smoke. Don't forget that this snake is different from every other snake because it needs your permission to bite you, and even if it does bite you, the venom will only cause physical tension, not pain. So enjoy adding your own detail to the experience. Experiment with it, make it feel like a real memory. Take as long as you need. Don't worry if it seems a strange thing to do. You use your imagination like this all the time without even realizing it. Do it now. You've just created a completely new memory inside your brain. It may not mean much to you just yet, but your subconscious mind now has a new way of feeling nicotine, one that, although imagined, has been chosen because it reflects reality, which is why it works so well. It doesn't make any difference that you imagined it. Nothing can now stop your subconscious mind from using this memory whenever it wants to. From this point onwards, you'll now notice that this snake visualization seems to enter your mind at random times for no reason at all. You may even find yourself dreaming about it. In fact, there will be a very good reason it keeps coming into your head, as you'll see. Step 2. Diaphragmatic breath. Okay, you're going to smoke a cigarette in a few moments, but before you do, there's another step you need to take. Right now, I want you to slowly take a massive deep breath, raising your stomach as much as possible as you breathe in. Completely fill your lungs. Hold it for a few moments, then let it out slowly and completely. This is called diaphragmatic breathing. And again, take another massive deep breath, slowly release it, and then carry on breathing in your normal way. Your brain has just released hormones called endorphins into your bloodstream, natural tranquilizing chemicals that will very quickly make you feel a sensation of increased relaxation spreading through your body, starting with your face and chest. There's a good reason for doing this, an important fact I've saved until now. When you light a cigarette, the first thing you instinctively do is take a deep breath of smoke and hold it in your lungs for a few seconds in order to get as much nicotine as possible. Usually, you then smoke the rest of the cigarette by taking much shallower breaths. Without you knowing it, this deep breath also releases the same endorphins that your diaphragmatic breathing just did a few moments ago, which slightly reduces the agitating effects of the smoke. But here's the trick. By deliberately causing these endorphins to be released before smoking the cigarette, you ensure that your subconscious brain doesn't get the same effect all over again when you take your first drag on the cigarette. This means that any illusion of relaxation will be diluted even further, and your subconscious mind will become even less frightened of letting go of smoking. Let's prove it.